Welcome to GOODER Stories, where strategy meets heart. I'm Gail Hataitham, founder of GOODER Creative Studio. Every week, I sit down with changemakers from across Canada's nonprofit world to explore how marketing can move missions forward. This podcast is to help you share your story with more clarity, creativity, and confidence. Let's get into it. Today, I'm so thrilled to be joined by Andrea Stordy, the creative director at YW Calgary. Andrea, or Andie, is a purpose-driven creative leader who blends brand strategy and storytelling to drive meaningful impact. As creative director at YW Calgary since 2023, she leads campaigns that resonate with the community and advance organizations' mission. With over 15 years of experience across nonprofit, corporate, fashion, athlete branding, and agency sectors, she brings a unique mix of creativity and strategy. Originally from Venezuela and based in Calgary since 2014, Andrea is passionate about mentorship, leadership, and the power of storytelling to inspire change. Hi, Andy. I'm just like so excited because YW Calgary has a special place in my heart. Can you tell us more about your organization? What's the mission and who do you serve?
Yeah. So at YW, our mission is to support women and their families to thrive in a safe and equitable community. So that means everything from shelter and housing to mental health supports, financial literacy and economic empowerment to child and youth services. So there's such a breadth of programs that we have at YW that just support women and their families to have a place to belong. And we make sure that we help those particularly facing systemic barriers to safety and wellness. So yeah, that's kind of a little bit of YW in a nutshell.
Yeah, you guys have a lot of programs supporting women for sure.
Yeah.
What does marketing mean to your team? Like, how do you approach it differently as a
Mhm.
nonprofit?
Yeah, so to us, marketing isn't really about selling, obviously, because there's so many audiences. So to us, it's more about connection and storytelling. So connection through storytelling is at the base of the work that we do at the marketing team at YW. We ensure that we connect with the audiences in a way that we keep our brand integrity as a legacy brand that has been in the community for over 115 years. But with that integrity, we also make sure that we are building up transformational change in the community, not only through the work that we do with our participants, but through our work in advocacy and as a voice in the community.
What
Yeah.
challenges do you often face when trying to market your mission then?
I think the biggest challenge, and I think this is across the nonprofit sector, is to make sure that we approach every story with dignity. It is sometimes very serious topics and there's a lot of urgency in our stories, but we have to be thoughtful about how we tell our stories ethically and inclusively. So that's the biggest challenge that we have. But I think if from our core, the YW culture is based on a strength-based approach. So we ensure that we're not the hero of the story. The participants are the heroes of their own story, and we're there to support them and meet them where they're at. So that's something that we keep very at our focus when we are marketing our mission. But it is also the biggest challenge. So having that right balance of making sure that the brand story comes across, but at the end of the day, our participants are the heroes.
So because you have so many programs and so many audience segments, like
Mm-hmm.
you mentioned, how do you keep
Yeah.
the consistency for the branding and for the marketing, like the message across the board?
Yeah, I think there's a level of flexibility that we have to approach because we do know that having so many different audiences, not all of them will fit in the same format and in the same story. So I think actually that the core of our story is how adaptable we are and how we've been able to evolve with the community. We were not the same that we were 10 years ago. We were not the same that we were 100 years ago. And that's at the core of our story. We continue to evolve and innovate to ensure that we are providing the tools that are needed for this community in this moment. So I think that's the one part of the consistency of our brand, and it allows us to have that flexibility when we're approaching different audiences and different streams of our programming. So yeah, that's kind of at that core of that consistency in our brand.
How do you measure your success? Like, how do you measure your impact?
I mean, obviously as a marketing team, we have the data, we go and we track the reach, we track engagement and fundraising goals and revenue goals. But at the end of the day, it's about trust. One of our organizational goals for a long time has been being a credible influencer in the community, and that doesn't mean just externally and in media or in partnerships. It's a comprehensive approach to building trust from every relationship that we have in the community, from our participants to the people that come to us, to the people that for help, to the people that are here to support us and to volunteer and to, bring us to podcasts and being a trusting voice in the community. So when somebody experiencing domestic violence feels safe enough to reach out, that's impact. When somebody reaches out for us for advice to start a nonprofit, that's impact to us. So there's many ways that for us, I think that's more valuable than the numbers, which are equally important. Obviously, we are very strategic in the way that we approach our organization, but I think at the end of the day, as a brand and as an organization, trust is our biggest measurement of success.
I love that. That's awesome. So a lot of nonprofits that I talk to, like one of the biggest challenge is the budget and the capacity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How do you balance creativity with the budget and capacity in your organization?
Yeah. And I think in that sense, we leverage creativity a lot. We have to, again, we have to get scrappy sometimes. Sometimes we have to get strategic, with what we have. Sometimes it's not only just the budget. Obviously, as you said, it's the capacity. We work with very, small teams and we have to leverage that. So, creativity, if anything, is something that we have in the back pocket and we're thankful to be in a era of marketing where content is the lead and we leverage that. So we test things a lot just to see what really is landing. Sometimes a campaign that we've been working on for months that it's beautifully curated has the same performance as something that we came up with in 15 minutes. But I think it's more about being quick and timely. So we make sure that we stay aware of what's going on in the community in terms of trends, in terms of what are people speaking about, what do they care about in this moment in time, and using that as a leverage for creativity. And sometimes, we have to turn ideas around within 24 hours, and because we know that's when they're going to perform. So we make sure that we stay quick in that sense, and we leverage creativity a lot.
Do you think because of your kind of broad background that's helped in that kind of to push that forward?
A little bit. I think in that sense, I think what has helped is understanding that our creativity doesn't live in one department. And that's something that I've been bringing on to YW. Like, creativity doesn't live it within my role or within my team. So something that I've learned from obviously agency side and all the other opportunities that I've had in my career is that sometimes the greatest ideas come from other people outside of our a brainstorming room, and I make sure to pull those people in the room sometimes and say, hey, like, what do you think we could do with this campaign, or what are you seeing on your program that is taking off, and how can we jump in with our brand, and some of the greatest ideas have come up from that.
That's so true. Yeah.
Yeah.
What platforms or channels have been most effective for your message?
I mean, I think this is across the industry in general in marketing, but storytelling through short form video is incredibly powerful, especially when we're lifting up voices of our program participants. People like to connect with those stories firsthand. And I think that has taken the lead and has given us a lot of growth in the past couple of years. But I think also our community partnerships have been really helpful. So just making sure that we're building those relationships and community, because sometimes building trust comes from other voices in the room and not ourselves talking about ourselves every single time. So, having that kind of sponsorship, for a lack of a better word, from other community partnerships is also great. We not only do it for our brand growth, but we do it just for the growth of our impact. So we're very strategic in that sense. We make sure that we keep our community close, we keep our partnerships close, we help those that need it in the nonprofit sector, and in that sense, we keep building that word of mouth to to have a little bit more of a reach in the community.
I see. So it's not like a specific platform or channels, but it's more about that
Hmm.
collaboration and the support
Yeah.
from the community.
Yeah, because platforms will look very different depending on who you work with. So we just make sure that we keep those conversations and build those relationships. And sometimes
Mhm.
it means attending events, it means speaking at events, it means sometimes doing joint posts on social media. So it does give us that flexibility and platform. So we try to meet our partners where they're at and supporting.
Definitely. Is there like anything that you wish that other nonprofits knew about marketing?
Hmm, that's a great question. I think that the biggest thing that I've learned is that we can't tell the same story every single time and expect the same results
Mhm.
or expect growth at least. I think we need to remain relevant, and that's something that's really hard. I think we need to be also talking about a more strategic approach into our missions, so that it's more about building different possibilities rather than the same outcome, because there's always like the one issue, right, that a nonprofit wants to fix normally. And obviously it's important work,
Mhm.
and we know that we are experts at a very specific thing. In that sense, we can't be all things to all people, but I think having that approach in our messaging for nonprofit, that it does create endless possibilities, that it does create, the hero of the story can bring so many possibilities into their future by being brought up to our programming, is something that I wish the nonprofits practice more, rather than telling the same story, because it does create some sort of brand fatigue.
Yeah, that's true. And that's where the creativity comes in too, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Do you have any recommended tools or platforms that you cannot live without that's been like really helpful for you guys as a marketing tool?
Yeah. I mean, keep your data close. Uh, so, I mean, Google Analytics is huge for us. Analytics in general are huge for us, just in the sense, and any tools that you may find that are good for the type of platforms that you're working with, because I think that's kind of where you're really seeing how you can shift on your content and how you can shift on your tactics. So it's not a specific platform. I should say a platform that we are surprised is working really well for us as an organization, I should say, is Canva. And just because of its ability for us to empower, we are an organization of almost 200 staff members. We do need to create some brand consistency, but we also need our team members to feel empowered to build their own assets within the brand guidelines. So Canva has been a great tool for us to create that consistency. It's also great at a great rate for nonprofits. So it is very accessible for all nonprofits. So yeah, I should say those are kind of the tools that have worked really well. I think obviously LinkedIn as a platform has also been growing. So for nonprofits, being familiar with your audiences on LinkedIn and
Mhm.
leveraging that, I think it's really important, just because it is not about copying what you had for Instagram and throwing it on LinkedIn. It's a very different type of platform, different type of conversation. So making sure you're also aware of who your demographics are on LinkedIn and leveraging that for growth, I think it's important. Yeah, I think that's, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Those are great tools for sure.
Yeah.
Do you have a story or a moment to
Hmm.
share? Like what stuck with you from the time working here?
I mean, there's so many. Yeah, I think I think from my very beginning, I think a story that's struck with me was when we opened our crisis shelter. So we opened our crisis shelter in September of 2023. We had a big open house, so everybody in the community could come in and see the facility. It is trauma informed, accessible, pet friendly. So it's just a beautiful, thoughtful building, and you can sense the calm and the light, and how it was built and designed for the women that
Mhm.
stay at the shelter, and the children. But what struck to me, and we were doing tours, and we had some staff members in different stations, and then somebody from the community came in and they said, I stayed here with my mom a while ago, and I just wanted to see what it looked like now. And it is so special to see how it looks like now. And I've been a long time supporter of YW Calgary. So that was really special because you can see, he was a little boy when he stayed there, and just to see him like coming in with his family and showing them the space was so special. And it really made a huge connection of why that place is there, and why it means so much. And just the impact of that is just something that we keep close to our hearts, and that's what kind of keeps fueling the passion on the work that we do. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that story. That gave me goosebumps.
Oh,
So sweet. So what's something that your organization is excited about right now? What's coming up?
Oh my goodness, there's so much. Yeah, we're at a great place at YW right now because we are just closing up a large campaign, the campaign that built our shelter, and we just finished our 5-year organizational strategic plan, and now it's on to new beginnings. So there's something in the air about new beginnings, and all the ideas are flowing. And so we're building a new strategic plan, which is very exciting. So that will give us some focus for the next 5 years. Our child and youth programming has been working through different brand refresh. So our early talks branding, mindful moments, and family resource network have new fresh faces, and they're so cute and colorful and fun. And then in the next year, we're hoping to refresh some of our platforms, refresh some of our look and feel, and and lots of campaigns on the go as well. So lots of work in the mix, and it keeps us excited. But I think what we're seeing in our child programming right now is very exciting.
Oh my God, that's so awesome. So
Yeah.
how can people learn more and following your stories and support your organization?
Yeah, I mean, there's many ways to support. At YW Calgary on Instagram is very active. Same on Facebook. So follow us there. We have very valuable informational and resources there, but we also have a little bit of fun. So you can see our reels as well, and they're quite fun, or so I say as a creative director. You can follow us on LinkedIn as well. You can donate at ywcalgary.ca/donate, and then ywcalgary.ca for all of our programming. You can see everything that we have on the go, especially this summer. There's a lot of like really great programs launching. So you can definitely go check it out.
Andie, thank you so much for being on our first episode. And
Honored.
thank you for sharing your insights and story with us today. I hope that our listeners are walking away with some fresh ideas and renewed inspiration for their own missions. And that's a wrap on another GOODER story. Until next time, keep making stories worth sharing. Bye.
Thank you.